Far beyond the bright stars of the central galaxy, in a quiet and peaceful region of space, the Valorians lived a calm life. The Valorians were a curious and wise alien species. Their skin shimmered with soft shades of blue and green, and their eyes glowed gently in the dark of space. They were explorers, travelers, and thinkers. They loved learning about the universe and meeting other beings, but they were careful to avoid danger. Their homeworld, Valora, was a beautiful planet filled with crystal-clear lakes, tall silver trees, and gentle rolling hills. The Valorians had built cities that blended with nature, using technology that respected the planet. They were peaceful and had no desire for war or conflict. Instead, they focused on science, art, and friendship. One day, while the Valorian listening post was scanning the stars for new signs of life, something unusual appeared on their screens. A faint signal, barely strong enough to be noticed, blinked from a distant system nearby. The signal repeated again and again, an SOS, a call for help. The Valorian scientists were puzzled. They had never received a distress call like this before. The signal came from a planet labeled only as X-237. The records showed it was a death world, a planet known for its extreme and dangerous conditions. Few travelers dared to go near it. The name Death World was given by space explorers because very few life forms could survive there. The planet's storms were violent, its plants were poisonous, and the animals were fierce. The Valorian Council gathered to discuss what to do. Many feared the danger of the planet. "It is too risky," said Elder Marin, his voice steady but concerned. "We do not know who sent this signal. It could be a trap or a sign of doom." But not all Valorians agreed. A young scientist named Lyra stepped forward. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity and determination. "We cannot ignore a call for help," she said firmly. "If someone is in trouble, it is our duty to help them. This could be the chance to learn something new. We do not always have to avoid danger." The council debated for hours. Finally, they reached a decision. They would send a small group of explorers to investigate the signal and offer assistance if needed. Lyra was chosen to lead the mission. She prepared her ship, the Starseeker, and gathered a small crew of trusted Valorians, engineers, scientists, and diplomats. The ship was sleek and fast, equipped with advanced sensors and peaceful technology designed for communication and exploration. As they left Valora's orbit, Lyra felt a mix of excitement and worry. She knew the death world was dangerous, but she also knew that this was their chance to show the true meaning of compassion and courage. The journey to X-237 was long. The closer they got, the more the planet appeared hostile. Their sensors showed extreme heat, massive storms, and strange energy readings. The Starseeker shook as it entered the planet's atmosphere. When they landed, the Valorian stepped out carefully. The air was thick and heavy. The sky was a dull, smoky orange, and the ground was rough and cracked. Strange plants with sharp leaves surrounded them, and distant roars echoed through the valleys. Lyra and her crew moved slowly, sending signals back to Valora. They searched for the source of the SOS. Suddenly, their sensors detected a weak life sign nearby. Following the readings, they came across a small outpost built from metal and stone. It looked battered and worn, with scorch marks and broken equipment scattered around. The Valorians approached with caution. Suddenly, a loud growl tore through the air. A huge creature with dark scales and sharp claws lunged toward them. Lyra's team froze, but she quickly activated a protective shield. The creature snarled and circled them but did not attack further. Lyra raised her hand in a peaceful gesture. "We come in peace," as she said softly. "We heard your call for help." From behind the outpost, a group of humans emerged. They were tough-looking, wearing rugged clothing and carrying simple weapons. Their faces were covered in dirt and sweat, but their eyes showed a fierce determination. One of the humans stepped forward, a tall man with a scar across his cheek. "We are the Deathworlders," he said. "We sent the SOS because we need help. This planet is cruel and the creatures here are deadly." Lyra nodded. "We want to help. Tell us what happened." The human leader, who introduced himself as Captain Reynolds, explained that they were explorers from Earth, sent to study X-237's unique environment. But the planet's dangers had caught them off guard. Their outpost was under constant attack from native predators, and supplies were running low. The Valorians listened carefully. They realized that these humans were different from any species they had met before. Despite the harsh conditions, the humans were still fighting to survive. Lyra felt a deep respect for them. "You are brave to live here," she said. We will help you as best we can." That night, the Valorians and humans shared stories around a small fire. The humans spoke of battles with giant beasts, of poisonous plants that could kill with a single touch, and of storms that could tear buildings apart. The Valorians shared tales of their peaceful home and their journey across the stars. Though their worlds were very different, they found common ground in their desire to live and protect those they cared about. As the fire flickered, Lyra looked up at the strange orange sky and thought about the challenges ahead. She knew this was only the beginning of a story that would change the way the galaxy saw humanity. The Valorians had come expecting a simple rescue mission. Instead, they had found something far greater, a chance to witness the true power of Deathworlders. The morning sun struggled to break through the thick orange haze that hung over the planet X-237. The Valorians' ship, Starseeker, sat quietly near the battered human outpost. The air was heavy and warm, carrying the faint scent of sharp metal and strange plants. The Valorian crew stirred from their rest, ready to learn more about the humans they had just met. Lyra stood outside, her gaze fixed on the small group of humans moving around the outpost. They were busy repairing damaged equipment and preparing for whatever dangers might come next. Their movements were quick and precise, as if every action had a purpose and every second mattered. Captain Reynolds noticed Lyra watching and walked over. His scarred face softened into a friendly smile. "You're curious," he said simply. Lyra nodded. "Yes, your people are unlike any we have met. You live here in a place that seems impossible to survive. How do you do it?" Reynolds shrugged. "We don't have much choice. Earth is far away, and this planet, it's a test. If we can live here, we can live anywhere. We call ourselves Deathworlders because we've learned to fight for every breath." Lyra was impressed but also concerned. "This planet is dangerous. You cannot do this alone. We want to help you, but we must understand the dangers first." Reynolds led her to a small metal table inside the outpost. Spread across it were maps, diagrams, and notes written in human script. The walls were covered with photos of strange creatures and plants, some beautiful, some terrifying. "We've been here for 6 months," Reynolds said, pointing at the map. "Our mission was to study the planet's ecosystem, but we quickly learned that the ecosystem wanted us gone." He laughed quietly, but there was no humor in his eyes. "Every day, we face attacks. Not just from predators, but from the planet itself. The storms, the poisonous plants, the shifting ground, they all work against us." Lyra studied the maps carefully. She noticed clusters of red marks indicating dangerous zones and black marks where humans had lost contact with their teams. "What about the others?" she asked softly. Reynolds' face darkened. "We lost some. Not to the creatures, but to the planet. It does not forgive mistakes." Lyra's heart ached for these brave humans fighting an enemy as old and vast as nature itself. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The distant roar of a beast echoed through the hills. The Valorians and humans alike froze, listening. Reynolds grabbed a rifle from the wall. "Get ready," he said. "It's coming." From the thick brush, a massive creature charged. Its body was covered in rough armor-like plates, and its eyes glowed a fierce red. It was taller than a Valorian and moved with terrifying speed. The humans took their positions quickly, firing shots and setting traps. The Valorians, unused to violence, stood back but watched in awe as the humans fought with skill and determination. The battle was fierce but short. The creature was wounded and fled, leaving behind broken branches and a heavy silence. Lyra approached the humans, her voice calm. "Your strength is incredible. You face death every day, yet you never give up." Reynolds wiped sweat from his brow. "We don't have a choice. This is our home now. We fight because we must." Over the next few days, the Valorians worked alongside the humans. They repaired equipment, improved communications, and shared knowledge. The Valorians introduced shields and energy barriers that helped protect the outpost. In return, the humans taught the Valorians how to move quietly through the dangerous forests, how to spot the signs of approaching storms, and how to prepare for the planet's sudden attacks. Lyra grew closer to the humans. She learned about their culture, their courage, their humor in the face of fear, and their deep sense of loyalty to one another. One evening, as the two groups gathered to eat, a young human woman named Mira told a story. "When I was a child on Earth," she began, "I was afraid of the dark. But here in this wild place, you learn to face every fear. You learn that fear is a tool. It sharpens your senses, keeps you alive." Lyra listened carefully. She understood now that these humans were shaped by their harsh world in ways the Valorians could hardly imagine. The next challenge came faster than anyone expected. A massive storm, larger than any before, rolled over the horizon. The wind howled like a beast and the sky turned an angry red. Reynolds ordered everyone to secure the outpost. The Valorians worked quickly, their technology helping to strengthen the shelters. The storm hit with full force. Trees bent and broke. The ground shook and rain fell like needles. Inside the shelters, the humans and Valorians waited, holding on to hope and each other. After hours of chaos, the storm passed. The damage was severe, but no one was lost. Lyra stepped outside and looked at the battered landscape. The planet was cruel, yes, but it was also alive in a way she had never seen. She realized that this was more than a test for the humans. It was a challenge for all life to endure and grow. The Valorians had come to help, but they were learning just as much. In that moment, under the strange red sky, two very different species found a new understanding. The humans were not just survivors, they were warriors of the Deathworld, and the Valorians were ready to stand beside them. The days following the storm were tense. The land around the outpost bore deep scars, fallen trees, cracked earth, and crushed vegetation. But the humans and Valorians worked side by side to repair what they could. There was no time for despair. Survival demanded constant effort. Lyra walked among the teams, her keen Valorian eyes noticing small details, the way humans moved with cautious speed, the way they scanned the skies and ground for threats, the silent communication between them that spoke of deep trust and experience. One afternoon, a new problem emerged. The Starseeker's sensors picked up an unusual energy spike from a nearby canyon. It was a narrow valley surrounded by sharp cliffs, known among the humans as the Gauntlet. The canyon was notorious for sudden rock slides and was home to some of the deadliest predators on the planet. Captain Reynolds looked worried. "The signal is coming from there. Someone or something is trapped." Lyra's heart quickened. "We must go immediately. Can your team guide us?" Reynolds nodded. "Yes, but the Gauntlet is no place for the unprepared. We'll need to move carefully." They assembled a small group, Valorians with their shields and sensors and humans armed with weapons and survival gear. The path was rough, the air thick with tension. As they entered the canyon, the temperature dropped sharply. The walls rose high on either side, blocking the dim light. The narrow path twisted and turned, with loose rocks threatening to fall at any moment. The Valorians, used to open spaces and calm environments, felt the pressure of the canyon. But the humans moved with sure-footed grace, their eyes sharp and steady. After several hours of careful travel, the group reached a narrow ledge overlooking a small clearing below. There, caught in a tangled mess of thorny vines and rocks, was a human, young, exhausted, but alive. "Jake!" Captain Reynolds called out. "Hold on, we're coming." The Valorians extended their energy shields to protect the group from falling debris as the humans began a delicate rescue operation. Working together, they freed Jake from the vines, supporting him as he struggled to stand. Jake's face was pale but determined. "I was out scouting. Didn't see the vines until it was too late," he said, voice weak. Lyra helped him sit down, offering water from their supplies. "You're safe now." But the relief was short-lived. A distant roar echoed through the canyon and the ground trembled beneath their feet. "Not again," Reynolds muttered. "We need to move, fast." As they began the return journey, the walls of the canyon shook violently. Rocks tumbled from above, blocking the path behind them. The group was trapped. The Valorians raised their shields to protect the team, but it was clear they would have to find another way out. "Stay calm," Lyra urged. "We will find a path." The group carefully climbed higher, seeking a narrow escape route. The humans led confidently, pointing out safe spots and warning of weak rocks. Suddenly, a shadow moved above, a massive predator, larger and more fearsome than any they had seen before. Its scales shimmered like black steel, its eyes glowing with cold intelligence. The beast roared and leapt toward the group. Without hesitation, the humans sprang into action. They formed a circle around the Valorians and the injured Jake, firing their weapons and setting traps. The Valorians, still unsure of combat, watched as the humans fought with fierce determination. Lyra was amazed by their teamwork. Each human seemed to know exactly what to do, as if they were part of a single living machine. The battle was intense, but the humans held their ground. At last, the predator, wounded and exhausted, retreated into the shadows. The group finally found a narrow crevice that led out of the canyon. Exhausted but alive, they climbed to safety. Back at the outpost, the humans treated their wounds while the Valorians monitored Jake's condition. It was clear he had lost too much strength, but his spirit remained unbroken. Lyra sat with Jake as he rested. "You are lucky," she said softly. "Not just to survive the canyon, but to have friends who will fight for you." Jake smiled weakly. "Here, friends are everything. If we don't trust each other, we don't survive." That night, as the stars shimmered faintly through the orange haze, the Valorians gathered to discuss what they had learned. Lyra spoke clearly, her voice filled with respect. "These humans are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not simply live on this death world. They thrive through courage, loyalty, and the will to survive." Elder Marin, who had been cautious at first, nodded slowly. "Their strength is not just physical, but in their spirit. We can learn much from them." The Valorians decided to stay longer, deepening their cooperation with the humans. They began sharing technology and knowledge, while also adopting some of the humans' survival skills. Over the following weeks, the two groups grew closer. The Valorians learned to move silently through the forest, how to spot the signs of dangerous plants, and how to prepare for sudden attacks. The humans, in turn, appreciated the Valorians' advanced medical skills and protective technologies. One day, Lyra and Captain Reynolds sat overlooking the wild landscape. "This planet is harsh," Reynolds said, "but it makes us strong. Every day is a battle, but every day we survive, we grow." Lyra smiled. "And you are teaching us that strength comes from facing fear, not avoiding it." Their friendship symbolized the merging of two very different worlds, one of peace and curiosity, and one of struggle and grit. Together they prepared for the challenges ahead. Knowing that survival on this death world required more than technology or strength, it required heart. And in this harsh place, the true power of Deathworlders was clear. They never gave up. The days grew shorter, and the dangers of the death world became clearer to the Valorians. The humans moved with a fierce confidence, as if the wild planet was an old enemy they had come to know well. But the Valorians still had much to learn. One morning, the alarm sounded suddenly through the outpost, a deep, vibrating pulse that warned of an incoming threat. The Valorians and humans rushed outside, eyes scanning the horizon. From the dense forest, a shadow moved, large, swift, and deadly. It was a creature unlike any the Valorians had seen. Taller than a Valorian, with sharp claws and armored plates covering its body, it advanced with terrifying speed. "Get to your positions," Captain Reynolds commanded. "This is no ordinary attack." The humans sprang into action. Some moved to block the creature's path while others set traps. Lyra and her Valorian crew activated their energy shields and prepared to assist. The battle was fierce. The creature struck with powerful blows, knocking down trees and sending shockwaves through the ground. The humans dodged and attacked, their movements precise and practiced. Every strike was aimed to weaken and slow the beast. Lyra watched with growing admiration. Despite the danger, the humans never showed fear. They communicated without words, moving as one. The Valorians, trained for peace and research, struggled to keep up but did their best to protect the group. Suddenly, the creature lunged toward one of the humans, a young scout named Rena. She was caught off guard, her weapon knocked away. Without hesitation, another human leapt forward, a man named Carter. He tackled the beast, using his body to shield Rena from harm. The Valorians were shocked by his bravery. The battle turned brutal. The humans used every skill, every trick they had learned from living on the death world. They used fire, traps, and teamwork to wear down the creature. At last, with a final powerful strike, the beast fell, its heavy body crashing to the ground. The humans cheered quietly, careful not to attract other dangers. Lyra felt a deep respect swell inside her chest. This is their true power, she thought. Not just strength, but the courage to protect each other no matter the cost. After the battle, the group returned to the outpost. The humans tended to their wounds, and the Valorians shared healing technology. Captain Reynolds approached Lyra. "You saw what we do," he said quietly. "This planet is a test. It takes everything we have. But we don't fight because we want to. We fight because we must protect our people." Lyra nodded. "And you do so with honor." The next days passed with new challenges. The planet tested them with poisonous storms and aggressive predators, but each time the humans met danger head-on. The Valorians began to understand that surviving here was not about avoiding danger, but mastering it. One evening, as the orange sky darkened, Lyra and a small group of Valorians and humans gathered to share stories. Mira, the young woman who once spoke of fear, told them about her childhood on Earth. "I grew up in a city," she said, "safe, comfortable, but I always felt small, like I didn't belong. Coming here changed me. This planet taught me to be strong, to trust myself, and to trust my friends." Lyra smiled. "Your strength is inspiring. We come from a peaceful world, but you show us that sometimes strength comes from struggle." The humans nodded in agreement. They knew their lives were shaped by hardship, but they also knew that hardship made them who they were. Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the outpost. Everyone rushed outside to see smoke rising from one of the supply buildings. "It's an attack," Reynolds shouted. "Get ready." The Valorians quickly set up their energy shields while the humans armed themselves. The attackers were not animals this time, but unknown machines. Drones, sleek and dangerous, firing energy blasts. Lyra's heart pounded. This was a new kind of threat. The humans moved fast. They fired their weapons, dodged blasts, and worked together to disable the drones. The Valorians used their shields to protect the injured and the outpost's vital systems. The battle was fierce but shorter than expected. The humans' knowledge of fighting and the Valorians' technology made a powerful team. One by one, the drones fell. After the dust settled, Lyra approached Reynolds. "Who sent these machines?" Reynolds shook his head. "We don't know yet, but someone doesn't want us here." The Valorians realized that this death world was not just a natural challenge, but a place where humans had enemies, others who feared their strength. As night fell, the humans and Valorians gathered again. Despite the attack, their spirits were unbroken. Lyra looked around at her new friends and felt a deep sense of pride. The humans had shown her what it meant to fight for survival and to protect those you love. She knew that this was only the beginning. Together, they would face whatever the galaxy sent their way. The true power of the Deathworlders was not just their ability to survive. It was their heart, their courage, and their unbreakable will. And now, the Valorians would stand beside them. The attack had shaken the outpost, but it had also strengthened the bond between the Valorians and humans. No longer were they just allies in survival. They had become a true team, united against whatever threats the Deathworld and the galaxy might throw at them. Lyra stood on a high ridge, looking out over the wild landscape of X-237. The orange sky faded into a dark purple as the planet's two moons began to rise. Below, the outpost buzzed with activity, repairing damage, gathering supplies, and preparing defenses. Captain Reynolds joined her quietly. "The drones were just the beginning," he said. "We've received word from Earth that a large force is moving toward this sector. They want to stop us." Lyra turned, concern shadowing her face. "Who are they?" "We don't know much, but they fear the Deathworlders. They fear what we represent, survivors who refuse to be defeated." Lyra's mind raced. The Valorians had come to help, but now the danger had grown beyond the planet's wild creatures and storms. The Deathworlders were facing an enemy from the stars. "We need to prepare," Lyra said firmly. "Together." Over the next days, Valorian technology and human grit combined like never before. Energy shields were expanded around the outpost. Traps and defenses were laid in the forests. Scouts patrolled farther and faster, alert for signs of approaching enemies. Despite the tension, there was also hope. The humans and Valorians shared meals, stories, and laughter. They celebrated small victories, a repaired generator, a caught predator, a clear night without storms. Lyra found herself learning not just how to survive, but how to fight with heart. The humans taught her how to stay calm under pressure, how to trust instincts, and how to protect others no matter the cost. One evening, as the two moons cast soft light over the camp, Lyra called a meeting. "We face a great challenge," she began, "but we do not face it alone. Together we are stronger than any threat." The Valorians nodded, their faces serious but determined. The humans clenched their fists, ready for what was to come. Days later, the first signs of the enemy fleet appeared. Dark shapes moved through space like shadows, approaching the Deathworld with silent menace. The Valorian sensors warned the outpost. Alarms rang out. The humans and Valorians took their positions, The battle was unlike anything either species had faced. The enemy ships were fast and well-armed. Energy blasts tore through the sky, lighting up the darkened world. But the Deathworlders fought back with fierce determination. The humans used their knowledge of the planet's terrain to guide surprise attacks on enemy ground forces. The Valorians used their advanced technology to shield the outpost and disrupt enemy communications. Lyra moved through the battlefield, encouraging her allies. She saw humans risking everything to protect their friends, Valorians using their shields to save lives, and a spirit of unity that no enemy could break. The battle raged for hours, but slowly the enemy began to retreat. The Deathworlders had held their ground. When the last ship vanished into the stars, the outpost was battered but alive. Reynolds looked at Lyra, exhaustion and pride in his eyes. "We did it together." Lyra smiled. "This planet may be harsh, but it has taught us something important. Strength is not just in weapons or shields. It is in heart, courage, and standing together." The Valorians and humans gathered once more under the twin moons. They had come to X-237 from very different worlds, but now they shared a single purpose. Lyra raised her voice. "We will protect this world, and each other. We will show the galaxy what it means to be Deathworlders." The humans cheered, their voices strong and full of hope. The Valorians joined, their glowing eyes bright with promise. In that moment, across the wild death world, a new legend was born, a legend of survival, friendship, and the true power of Deathworlders. No matter what the future held, they would face it as one.